latest news in North Central Washington, go to NCWLIFE.com or find us on Facebook. Got a news tip? Email us at news@NCWLIFE.com or call 888-2020.
Good Monday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window and boy, more of the same, and I'm talking about more wind, and we did see plenty of it once again on our Monday. Wind gusts this afternoon between 30 and 35 miles an hour, steady winds between 25 and 30 even at times, and this wind just doesn't seem like it wants to shut off. We have literally had almost a month straight of pretty strong winds here in north central Montana, and even though we haven't been that hot, we still have the potential for wildfire, and we do have a map that was issued this morning by the National Weather Service, and this is our wildfire potential outlook for July. And notice Washington State up in the northwest corner of the map, of course. Red throughout most of eastern, central, north central, and even southwestern Washington, and that runs all the way down into Oregon and for most of the western United States. So even though that we haven't seen a lot of very hot weather, we've had a lot of wind and we haven't had much rainfall. So we will definitely keep our eye on all this wildfire potential, and we'll talk about some of that coming up here in a bit. Now, a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Grant County firefighters were successful overnight corralling a brush fire that was fanned out of control Sunday afternoon. Douglas County firefighters responded Saturday night to a structure fire in East Wenatchee. Fireworks can be legally purchased, but that doesn't mean that you can legally set them off. Douglas County Fire Marshal Kurt Blanchard talks about the dangers of all fireworks, even the safe and sane ones. And Douglas County Sheriff Harvey Jesdahl closes out a 30-year law enforcement career by issuing his final incident report, a stabbing in Orondo. But first, we begin tonight. Wildland firefighters from several agencies continue to battle a wind-driven blaze in the Eniat area. The fire started around 3:30 p.m. Sunday on the west side of the Eniat River. That's about 17 miles up from US 97A on Eniat River Road near Stormy Creek. The fire is under the management of a joint command comprised of local State Department of Natural Resources and U.S. Forest Service. As of noon today, the fire had spread to about 80 acres of brush and scattered timber. Level 2 evacuations were issued for 12 homes in the Riverwood development. That's Coyote Falls and Kelsey Lane. Those levels have now been lowered to level 1. Level 1 evacuation notices were also in place and are also in place for about 50 to 60 homes on both sides of Eniat River Road from milepost 20, the Tyee Ranch, to Potato Creek Road. Grant County firefighters were successful overnight corralling a brush fire that was fanned out of control Sunday afternoon. The fire burned in excess of 100 acres of mostly grass and brush in the Ancient Lakes area. Crews from multiple Grant County fire districts with aid from Bureau of Land Management brought the fire under control with no reports of structure damage or injuries. Level 1 evacuations were lifted for several homes in that area. Douglas County firefighters responded Saturday night to a structure fire in East Wenatchee. The ability to have firefighters initially on scene, including Chelan County Fire District 1 and Wenatchee Valley Firefighters Local 453, aided in a quick handle on this fire. No word yet on the cause of that blaze. Well, fireworks can be legally purchased, but that doesn't mean that you can legally set them off. NCWLIFE's Dan Kuntz talked with Douglas County Fire Marshal Kurt Blanchard about the dangers of all fireworks, even the safe and sane ones.
We're outside the headquarters of Douglas County Fire District number 2 in beautiful East Wenatchee, and to my immediate right is the Assistant Fire Chief and the Fire Marshal for this particular neck of the woods. I'm talking, of course, about Kurt Blanchard. And Kurt, we're going to do a little demonstration today. What are our viewers about ready to see?
Well, what we're looking at today is the ignitability potential for light fuels. We have 4th of July coming up, and everyone's excited to launch off their fireworks. What I want to show people is just the inherent dangers that come with lighting off fireworks when you're surrounded by light fuels, and just how easy it is to light these grasses off. These grasses are the primary carrier fuels for us that start the ignition process, and with these winds and dry conditions in July, of course, we know that we're prone to wildfires in this area. So we're urging people to be real careful, and we're going to do an active demonstration today illustrating just why you need to be so careful.
Now, in Chelan County, in its entirety, either unincorporated or incorporated cities, fireworks are just banned, safe and sane or whatever. Douglas County is different, though. You have some jurisdictions where it is legal to set off safe and sane fireworks, correct?
That's correct, and you need to check with your local authorities and make sure that it is allowed. Some incorporations have banned it. We have allowed people to light off fireworks here in East Wenatchee with hopes that folks get it out of their system here where it's at least manageable and safe with all the roads that we have, and not in the county areas where, of course, it's banned. Fireworks stands will be selling fireworks up until, of course, 4th of July at 9 o'clock p.m. So make sure that you get your fireworks purchased prior to that. And also realize that fireworks cannot be ignited during the day until 1 o'clock p.m. And of course, you can light those off until midnight, or actually, correction, 11:59 on the 4th of July. So this is just some standard cheat grass that I pulled out of a ditch, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a standard fuse, I'm going to light it, and we'll just see how well this fuel ignites and carries fire. There's a slight wind, simulating normal conditions. So I'm going to lay this fuse in here. It doesn't take much to ignite these grasses. You can see it's already starting to char, and that's all we need. Once you've started that little char, wind will then propagate the fire and the fuel. And you can see there's actually red embers starting here. And keep in mind, this is early in the morning. These fuels are like sponges, and they absorb the atmospheric moisture, the relative humidity. Relative humidity is up right now, and so this grass didn't carry the fire right off the bat. It did ignite, however. In the afternoon, we'll definitely see fire propagate through these fuels. And like I said, it doesn't take much. And this is just, keep in mind, a fuse.
Yeah, fireworks burn hotter than a fuse, do they not?
Absolutely. I mean, sparklers and other effects can be in excess of a couple thousand degrees. And so people need to be mindful of that.
Douglas County Sheriff Harvey Jesdahl closes out a 30-year law enforcement career by issuing his final incident report, a stabbing in Orondo. The sheriff officially retired at midnight Saturday and turned over the reins temporarily to Under Sheriff Kevin Morris, who was appointed by the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. Under Sheriff Morris will serve as acting sheriff pending the appointment of a sheriff by the Douglas County Commissioners. The Douglas County Commissioners are expected to make a selection to fill the remainder of Sheriff Jesdahl's unexpired term by resolution on Monday, July 9th. Morris is a candidate for the sheriff's office, along with East Wenatchee Police Officer Leon Leidy. Sheriff Jesdahl reports in his news release that a man is in custody as a suspect in a stabbing at an Orondo labor camp. The sheriff says it happened on June 23rd when the suspect got in a fight with a group of men at a workers' camp off Nallmeyer Road. The 20-year-old victim was stabbed in the pelvis after he tried to stop the fight. He was transported to Central Washington Hospital for treatment. 31-year-old Ismael Gonzalez Diaz of Orondo was arrested without incident, that according to the sheriff. Coming up next, about 200 sign-waving demonstrators and their supporters gathered at Memorial Park in downtown Wenatchee Saturday as part of a nationwide protest against the Trump administration. The United States District Court in Eastern Washington granted preliminary approval of $26 million in common funds to benefit affected homeowners by Wells Fargo Bank. A recent multi-agency law enforcement operation results in the arrest of 62 violent offenders in Chelan, Douglas, and Grant counties. And an Ephrata man was seriously injured in a motorcycle accident near Soap Lake Friday night. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
It turns out, some people are more likely to do well at charter college and succeed in a new career. So, what's this charter type? Charter types are go-getters. Charter types follow through. Charter types love a challenge. If you're a hard worker looking for a fast path to a better career, you're just our type. Charter College. We work to get you to work.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Welcome back. In another news, about 200 sign-waving demonstrators and their supporters gathered at Memorial Park in downtown Wenatchee Saturday as part of a nationwide protest against the Trump administration. NCWLIFE's Steve Hare was there and has more.
It was a peaceful rally organized by a coalition of groups who have come together to protest current border protection laws that have resulted in the detention of thousands of children who have either been brought into the country illegally by their parents or by smugglers. The event was marked by impassioned pleas for immigration reform that better protects children and families.
And we're here today because we want to reunite our families, all of our families, those that have been separated, those that are seeking refuge and safety. We feel it's important that everybody feel safe and everybody be together. And so we're here rallying for that and protesting the policies and practices that are inhumane.
The rally was peaceful but spirited, with supporters lining the sidewalk along Chelan Avenue, waving signs and placards to passing motorists who in turn honked their horns in support for the most part. There were no counter-demonstrations Saturday morning. I'm Steve Hare, NCWLIFE News.
In a press release late last week, the Wenatchee law firm Jeffersons, Danielson, Son, and Aylward announced the United States District Court Eastern District of Washington granted preliminary approval of a class-wide settlement providing $26 million in common funds to benefit affected homeowners by Wells Fargo Bank. Over 4,000 Eastern Washington homeowners were locked out of their homes by Wells Fargo Bank prior to a completion of a foreclosure. This case is one of several cases involving Washington homeowners who've had their locks changed by lenders and mortgage servicers prior to foreclosure. The Washington Supreme Court issued its decision and holding that the pre-foreclosure lock changes violated long-standing Washington law. Well, a recent multi-agency law enforcement operation results in the arrests of 62 violent offenders in Chelan, Douglas, and Grant counties. The 10-day coordinated effort called Operation Hopscotch involved the U.S. Marshal's Office, U.S. Border Patrol, county law enforcement, and city law enforcement from East Wenatchee, Wenatchee, and Moses Lake. In all, they seized approximately 180 grams of methamphetamine and $2,000 in counterfeit currency. Operation Hopscotch also led to the apprehension of fugitives based on arrest warrants. They were issued from California and Idaho, as well as the arrests of offenders located in Arizona and in Texas. An Ephrata man was seriously injured in a motorcycle accident near Soap Lake Friday night. Washington State Patrol reports 42-year-old Leland Ostrom was traveling east on State Route 28 near the Soap Lake city limits around 7:30 when he lost control of his Harley-Davidson and rolled. Both driver and motorcycle came to rest, blocking westbound lanes on Highway 28. Ostrom was airlifted to Sacred Heart Hospital in Spokane. State Patrol says speed was the cause of the accident, and Ostrom was charged with that offense. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, your sports update with Dan Kuntz in for Eric Granstrom. You'll have a look at the results of last night's Apple Sox game, the West Coast League standings, how the Mariners game turned out last night, and the current American League West standings. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
Vominos junk haulers, big or small, they haul it all. Vominos junk haulers are experienced at hauling junk from your household items to yard and construction debris. That old hot tub and eyesore, Vominos, will make it Vominos. Recycling is a priority to Vominos junk haulers. They'll haul away your old appliances and electronics. And for the do-it-yourselfers, Vominos Junk Haulers also rents trucks and trailers. Call Vominos Junk Haulers and Moving Service today to schedule your free estimate.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
Hi, Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. When you think of Alpine Air in Wenatchee, think of professional, friendly customer service for all your heating and cooling needs. Alpine Air partners with Carrier, manufacturers of some of the best heating and air conditioning equipment available today. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Visit our store in Wenatchee, meet our people, see our shop. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a good Monday to you. Dan Kuntz filling in for Eric Granstrom, who is on assignment this week. But James Paxton was not. The Big Maple, of course, is Canadian. Yesterday was Canada Day, and the British Columbia native pitched one of the best games of his young career. No problems at all as they shut out the Royals 1-0. That means the Mariners are within a half game of first place in the American League West. Yes, it was bobblehead day for Mr. Paxton, and he pitched really well. Allowed just 2 hits, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts over 8 scoreless innings, and he racked up his 7th double-digit strikeout game of the year. Only 1 runner got past first base. The big lefty has been a huge part of Seattle's surprising success. Mariners have gone 35-17 since he threw that no-hitter back on May 8th in Toronto. That's the second best mark in the majors since May 8th, just fractions of a percentage point behind the top record. That would be Houston, the team that they're tracing. With the Astros losing a third straight game at Tampa Bay yesterday, that means Seattle is now just 1/2 game back in the division race. They are 54-31, and they secured their first season sweep of the Royals since 2014. Mariners have won 7 straight for the first time since September of 2016. And yeah, it was another cliffhanger. They improved their Major League best leading record in one-run games to 26-11, Seattle's 5th 1-0 win of the season. And Mr. Paxton needed to be on top of his game because the Royals' rookie right-hander Brad Keller pitched real well too. He allowed just 6 hits in 1 run. He went the distance. The Mariners bunched all 3 of their hits off the 22-year-old in the second inning. The lone run scored on Ben Gamel's RBI base hit. Edwin Diaz replaced Paxton in the 9th, struck out the side for his 32nd save. That is the best in the majors. Mr. Diaz becomes the second pitcher in Major League Baseball history to record at least 30 saves and 70 strikeouts before the All-Star game. The only other person to do that, Eric Gagne of the Dodgers, who did that back in 2003. The Mariners are now 40-0 in games where Diaz enters with a lead, and he's 20 for 22 in 1-run save situations. Mariners are off today. They will take on the Angels. A 3-game set begins tomorrow at Safeco Field. Wade LeBlanc will throw for the Mariners. In the meantime, the Apple Sox, they had the day off yesterday, and they return to action tonight. The Yakima Valley Pippins are in town, a 3-game set at Paul Thomas Senior Field. Tonight also marks the beginning of the second half of the season. The West Coast League play, they split it up in 2 different halves, so everybody starts all over again at 0-0. Now the Sox, as you see on the Les Schwab scoreboard, finished the first half of the season 8-12. That's last place in the WCL North Division. The Bellingham Bells won the first half title and a spot in the playoffs already. They're 17-6 on the year. They won the division by 3.5 games over Kelowna. So it's back to work for the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Again, Yakima in town, the Yakima Valley Pippins. First pitch, 7-5 tonight at Paul Thomas Senior Field. And that's sports. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. From all indications, it looks like it's going to be a bounty of fresh, locally grown fruit and vegetables this season, judging from what we saw and sampled at Saturday's Wenatchee Valley Farmers Market at the Pybus Public Market. The NCWLIFE cameras were there, and we captured some of that activity.
Standing here right now with Monty Bickford at Bickford Farms. You're located in Yolanda.
We live in Orondo and have an orchard there and also one in Malaga.
Great. So tell us about the crop this year. How'd it come out?
Well, it's really good year for cherries.
Yeah.
Set just about right. Some light, some heavy, but on average, really good.
What varieties do you grow?
We have 10 varieties.
10 varieties.
We start with early Rainiers and Santinas and move into Bings, Brooks, and Index, Cavaliers. We just have all kinds of cherries.
How long have you been growing cherries?
Oh, for 30 years.
30 years? What's the secret to growing the fruit cherries?
Well, the secret is just be lucky.
It's a crapshoot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's all dependent
Some years
on
it rains and some years it doesn't.
Did you dodge the bullet this year?
We did.
Yeah.
We had a little tiny bit, but not bad.
Great. Well, good luck to you and hope you have a great farmers market season this year.
And thank you.
You betcha. Thanks.
I'm Patty. This is Bee. She's the owner of Bumblebee's Garden. We grow our flowers up locally up in Iniat. Our season starts from May to October for 6 months. It's been great. It's been kind of slow. The weather been kind of cold up there actually. So we're just hoping for some more sunshine. You can get a hold of us on Facebook. We have a Facebook account, or you can visit us on www.bumblebeesgarden.com. Or you can come and visit us at the Wenatchee Farmers Market every Saturday.
Hi, my name is Danielle. We're from Storino Farms in Puyallup, Washington. Today we have raspberries, golden raspberries, blackberries, tayberries, and 3 different kinds of currants.
Oh, those are good. I got some a couple of weeks ago at Costco, and I made a pie, and I was all ready, and there was no taste.
No taste, yeah.
Absolutely no taste. Can I have another one?
Absolutely.
And we'll be back with your unseasonably cool, dry, and windy weather forecast right after this. Stay with us.
I grew up with an addicted father. I became an addict myself, so we lost everything. We were homeless, so we found ourselves in a tent. That changed everything for me. The Work First program got me in touch with Goodwill. I could partner with Goodwill and get on-the-job training and get paid for it. It was the best decision that I've ever made. They didn't care that I had a background. They saw something inside of me. When people donate to Goodwill, they're actually helping fund these programs that I was involved in. I owe everything to Goodwill. Goodwill, there's more behind the store.
Lakeshland Mailboxes is a small place with a lot to offer. Job one is shipping and receiving from A to Z. They pack it, they label it, they ship it. But did you know we also offer notary service, online computer access, legal forms, copies, greeting cards, and of course, mailboxes. Lakeshland Mailboxes, everything you need in one small package.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes. My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Wildland firefighters from several agencies continue to battle a wind-driven blaze in the Entiat area. The fire started around 3:30 p.m. on the west side of the Entiat River, about 17 miles up from US 97A on Entiat River Road. That's near Stormy Creek. The fire is under the management of a joint command comprised of local, State Department of Natural Resources, and U.S. Forest Service. As of noon today, the fire had spread to about 80 acres of brush and scattered timber. Level 2 evacuations were issued for 12 homes in the Riverwood development, which includes Coyote Falls and Kelsey Lane. Those levels today have now been lowered to Level 1. Level 1 evacuation notices are also in place for about 50 to 60 homes on both sides of the Entiat River Road. It's from milepost 20, Tyee Ranch, to Potato Creek Road. Grant County firefighters were successful overnight corralling a brush fire that was fanned out of control Sunday afternoon. The fire burned in excess of 100 acres of mostly grass and brush in the Ancient Lakes area. Crews from multiple Grant County fire districts with aid from the Bureau of Land Management brought the fire under control with no reports of structure damage or injuries. Level 1 evacuations were lifted for several homes in that area. Douglas County firefighters responded Saturday night to a structure fire in East Wenatchee. The ability to have multiple firefighters initially on the scene, which included Chelan Fire District 1 and Wenatchee Valley Firefighters Local 453, they all aided in a quick handle on this fire. No word yet on the cause of that blaze. Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. And before we get to the details of that, let's take another peek outside our weather window where, yes, it was another windy one out there in North Central Washington today as we take a look at the beautiful Wenatchee Valley from our jump-off ridge Sky-Fi tower cam. You can see Wenatchee off in the distance, the Wenatchee Valley. A few clouds along the horizon today, but mostly clear skies with sunshine out there. But we did see some winds, about 35-mile-an-hour gust earlier this afternoon. We also saw steady winds between 25 and 30 miles an hour. The good news is, as we take a look at our surface loop, things will begin to die down somewhat. This is our situation right now. We are seeing those strong winds, and you notice the arrows coming into western Washington. That's a very strong northwest and westerly flow, which usually does kick up our winds. We're going to have more on that tomorrow from the Weather Service, but the winds will die down as we get into Tuesday. Winds tomorrow only about 5 to 15 miles an hour. And look at that. We are changing now to our temperature map from our wind map because we're warming up, folks. On Wednesday, on our Independence Day, we should see high temperatures back to normal now, which is about 82 degrees for this time of year. And by Thursday, notice the red and deep orange colors. That's 80s and 90s, and that's where we'll be in North Central Washington and especially down in the Tri-Cities area on Thursday, where our high temperatures could top 90 degrees. Let's take a look now at your quick lube and tune forecast. Tonight we'll drop down to a very chilly 53 degrees overnight, still below normal for highs for Tuesday, partly cloudy, just a light wind. And then for Independence Day on Wednesday, boy, it just couldn't be better. Mostly sunny, light wind and 82. There's our hottest day of the week on Thursday. 91 is possible as we creep up to the end of our work week. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday then look very, very nice. 87 Friday. And a little cool down on the weekend as a weak cold front moves through. 81 Saturday and 84 as we end our weekend on Sunday. And if you have a video of the day that you'd like to see right here on the NCW Life Evening News, message us on our Facebook page at the NCW Life channel. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. Also, keep it right here on the NCW Life channel tomorrow morning for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with host Dan Kuntz and News with Steve Hare. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to check out the NCW Movie Guide to keep up on what movies are playing in our town.